Hello everyone and welcome back to Prodigal Overland. My name's Brad. If you're new here, welcome. In today's video, we are going to be doing a minimally edited video. It's going to be a 100,000 mile review on our Jeep Grand Cherokee. So in this video, I made a little list here. It's going to be a very casual video. It's very early-ish in the morning. Still in my jammies, still drinking my coffee. But we're going to go over things, some of the common questions we get with the Grand Cherokee, as well as revisiting like how it's doing after 100,000 miles. So talking about things like why in the world did we pick this as an off-road vehicle or something we wanted to use off-road? How's it doing after 100,000 miles out on the roads, on road, and then talking about off-road. And then just issues. What issues have we had after 100,000 miles, and what maintenance have we done to keep it going after 100,000 miles? And that's about it. So stick around and see what's coming next.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
All right, so what we're gonna do for this video is I'm gonna kind of reference videos I can remember we've made that address certain topics and put them up above here somewhere if you guys want more detail on some of the things I'm gonna be talking about today. But let's start off just how we ended up with this thing. So we bought this in 2019 before the pandemic. I did look, we paid $34,500 for this. It is fully loaded. So this is the V8 Trailwawk. It's got the rear entertainment system. It's got panoramic sunroofs. It's got the heated and ventilated seats. It's got the whole shebang. I burp, man. I'm sorry. I burp while I'm drinking coffee in the morning, and I should probably edit that. When we bought this Grand Cherokee, it had, I think, right around 32,000 miles on it. 33. I remember because we had like 3 or 4,000 in the original warranty left with it, that 3-year 36,000. So it was like around 34,000 maybe when we got it. We did buy the Mopar extended warranty, which covers us, I think it was like 7 years and 125,000 miles. We're at like 105. In fact, let's go check. Let's see where we're at with this thing. I guess while we're doing that, we can show you some of the modifications. If you've been watching us, a lot of our aftermarket stuff is, in fact, at this point, I think all the armor you see is Chief products at this point. So you don't have to ask, it's from Chief products. All right, we've got, let's see, looks like 104,422. So 104,000 miles, 422 on this thing. We'll start it up a little bit later. I actually think we changed our spark plugs. Remind me to talk about that later. I did the spark plugs on this, and I think it sounds better. In fact, I found something when I did the spark plug, so you're going to stick around for that too. But anyway, we'll get to maintenance later. All right, so why did we get it? So when we bought this, it was before this used car market craze. And like I said, these were, I think this was a 55,000 vehicle that we were able to pick up for about 20,000 off when we bought it, roughly. And like I said, it's fully loaded. So when I was going through and looking at, like, at the time it was, you know, a lot of the Toyota stuff was popping up. I needed something that could tow. The tow rating on this is 7,200 pounds, although, I mean, we've towed pretty close to that. You don't want to get too long when you're towing with this, because there is a little bit of sway there for sure, even with all the brake controllers and the sway and all that. So when we first started, we had a 25-foot trailer. I'll try to find a video of that we were towing with, at least something that shows that in it. So I'll pop that up if you want to see more about that. That's way back. So we started when we hit the road full time. We had a 25-foot trailer that was our house, that we were towing with and used this. As far as pulling and stopping power, fantastic. What we ran into as issues is we were way over a hitch weight. I mean, way over. So we had all 5 of us in here, 2 big dogs, the hitch. And so I knew I was over. We also had our trailer was pretty heavy loaded down. We had dialed it in with the distribution that if it wasn't windy, it was okay. But on windy days, if I was going over 65, things got a little not so good. So long term, we knew that that was going to kind of crush this vehicle. And so we did that for maybe 6 months or so, and then we swapped out. So, but we have towed heavy with this. You can do it. In fact, the pulling power, I mean, it's great with a V8. So if you're towing a lot, we get that one a lot. If you're towing a lot, V8 is nice. It is. I don't want to say. You can do it with the V6. We have the 3.6 in our Gladiator. And I have a whole video on that. So I'll put that up here on towing heavy with a Jeep Gladiator. But Grand Cherokee, I wish I could have this V8 in my Gladiator, which is what I'm filming on. So, yeah, there's my notes. There's my notes right there. Anyway, so I wish they would put the 5.7 conveniently in this thing, and that would be the perfect combo. Anyway, we're not talking about the truck. So, it can tow, yes. What else we got here? So we got it because of, price was good, power and towing with that V8, and like to have a fully loaded, heated, ventilated seats, the whole shebang, the navigation, the rear DVD, and coming at 34.5, like that was a pretty good deal. So that's kind of why we went this direction. And it has Quadra Drive 2. So there's Quadra Track 2, Quadra Drive 2. This has the limited slip in the back, so we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. My daughter just came out with our puppies. I should show you. Look at this. Look where we live now. We're hitting fall in the mountains of North Carolina. Just gorgeous. All right, enough about that. So how's it doing? How's it handling on road after 100,000 miles? Oh, I will say, so we bought it with what, 32,000 miles. It's got 104, so we put probably at least 70,000 miles since 2019 on this vehicle. Airplanes. Are you allowed to do airplane sounds? And dog peeing in the background. I gotta stop this now. After 105,000 miles, how's it handle on the road after all the punishment we've given it? It still handles good. So Lauren, this is her daily driver to work and back. Lauren, so I asked her, what do you still like about this thing? She loves the power. My wife is acceleration hungry, more so than I am, I've learned. So she loves the V8 in this and being able to get on it and move. So that was one of hers too. She also suffers from kind of cold hands and cold extremities all the time. So she loves that she can remote start this thing. If it's below 40 degrees outside, it will turn on the heated seats, heated steering wheel for you automatically. And so in the morning she gets into a nice warm vehicle and she loves that. Now that's a feature obviously that is becoming more standard in some of the vehicles, but it's super nice to have it in this one. If you guys have been following us probably for a while, you're following us because of the off-road content. So how does this thing do off-road? What do I like about it? What are my thoughts on the new system? We're going to throw that out here. So this has the Quadra Drive 2. If you're not familiar with the drivetrain systems on this, we do have a couple videos doing this. We've got one that's got lots and lots of views that really breaks it down. I'll put that up here. Quadra Track 2 versus Quadra Drive 2. If you're going to be doing a lot of off-roading and really, like if you watch our stuff and you think, man, that looks fun, I want to do it, Quadra Drive 2. Okay, if you watch our stuff and you think, man, that's crazy, that guy's nuts, I would never do that, Quadra Track 2 or Quadra Track 1. Difference between Quadra Track 1 and Quadra Track 2 are Quadra Track 2 gives you a transfer case that will shift into lower gearing. Quadra Track 1, not so much. So that, I would say, is probably the easiest way to sum that up on which one you want to get. How do you know which one you have? I get that one all the time. So you can tell by watching it off-road. You can go into the off-road pages, and if it shows a lock on your rear axle in any of the modes, not just the transfer case, if there's a lock that comes up under the rear axle, you've got the limited slip, I think, best I can tell you. All right, I almost stopped the video, but because I'm not sure what to say next, but we're not doing that this time. Okay. air suspension. We've got the air suspension. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? So I like it, and it works most of the time. And I will say this. So we've obviously draw a lot of Grand Cherokees, a lot of newer versions. This is 2018. I've been out with 2021 Jeeps and all that. The air suspension is buggy sometimes. It is. Most of the time, not an issue. But we were recently out, and I'll try to put a video of that up here. We were out with a guy that I think had a newer, like a 2021, 2020, something like that. And his air suspension, he had issues. We've had this issue too, where maybe the front goes down, the back stays up. It's like a software glitch, right? So if you reset it or if you wait, in his case, once we got him, because it becomes non-responsive, you can't get out of it. In his case, we fixed it by going like over 20 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour. The system will reset itself because it doesn't want to be in a weird setting when you're going faster. Ours is acted up when it's super cold, like 25 degrees. It gets a little weird sometimes. I will say I'm kind of torn on the air suspension issue. It's a super nice feature to have when everything's working great. I will say just about every time we go off-roading in this thing, it's in the back of my mind, is the air suspension going to work or not? With our truck, like the Gladiator, what's been nice is I never once think about like, hey, is my suspension going to work today or not? Like, it just is there. With this one, like, it's in the back of your head, like, especially once you have an issue. Like, if you've never had issues, it's probably not in the back of your head. But if you've had issues, you go in, you push the button, nothing happens, or you can't lower it, you can't raise it. Like, it's in the back of your head. And it just, once it happens, it kind of always is. We've got 105,000 miles on this, and the air suspension is completely original. Like, we had very early on, we had one, it was acting up. They didn't really find anything. They just reset everything, and it's been fine since. Our warranty, extended warranty, expires at 125. I'm part of me's kind of hoping that it goes out before that goes up. I'm not gonna lie, but because it's not cheap to replace. But so far, it's been working fine. It goes up, it goes down. All right, let's set myself back up here. Issues with even when it is working. I get this one a lot too. In off-road 2, is it normal to hear a thumping sound? Yeah, that's normal. What's happening, what you're actually hearing is not the loading, but you're hearing the bags, like they're underweight, and if you come up off a weight, they like snap back. In off-road 2, it's a very stiff ride in off-road 2. That's another con of this system. And you'll hear a thumping more. And it's not under load. It's actually when it's coming off of that load, the bags are snapping back into like position because there's so much pressure. Articulation. Okay, so this can go either way, right? So this does not have the articulation a Wrangler or Gladiator will have. Just doesn't. You're going to three-wheel a lot. You're going to get on two wheels. And we've been out with guys. We have Phil, a guy that's been out with us a couple times in a Wrangler that's lifted, and he loves this thing. He keeps talking about wanting to get this because it's such a different wheeling experience. So what I would say with that is if you watch the videos and you see me kind of off camber, or you see these and you think, oh, that's awesome, that's cool, like maybe you want to consider this. If you watch that and if you think that's terrifying, I want all my wheels on the ground, then not so much. Practically speaking, if you've got three wheels on the ground, you're doing okay. Like, if you got two wheels on the ground, time to pay attention. But with the limited slip in this, it can handle picking wheels up no problem. I will say with the Quadra-Track 2, once you start losing wheels, you got to work a little harder for it, okay? But this limited slip in this does really well. Okay, where will this system fail when everything is working properly? If you're in a situation out off-road and you need your front axle to be pulling you up an obstacle or over an obstacle, we've been in a spot, I'll link this one up, in a spot in South Dakota, and we had one wheel trying to climb a rock. The other one had zero traction, and we were almost there. Like, it could have nudged it over, and we couldn't do it. The system didn't have enough force clamping power on the wheel to direct power over. I mean, it didn't matter what we tried. Now, I've heard that some of this can be your brake pads. So if your brake pads are getting a little worn, that maybe that system doesn't work as well. That makes sense. We do have new brake pads on the front that we did. I haven't been in a situation. It's pretty rare to get yourself in that situation, honestly. Like, if you're new to off-roading, It's pretty rare that you're relying on your front wheels to pull you up over something versus the back pushing you. Okay, pretty stinking rare. So, but that's where it will fail. And some people might wheel in this and never be in a situation where that's happened. But for us, a couple times we've been in spots where I needed my front wheels to be able to pull like a locking differential up front, and it doesn't have it. And that is where the quadra-track, that's where this fails, because it does not have a front limited slip. I was really hoping in the new models that they did this. So while I'm on that, new models, it's the same system. In fact, it's almost worse. If you go and look and get a Trailhawk now, the 2022s, the WLs or the L versions or whatever of this, we saw some stickers, man. They're not sticking Quadra 2 in all of these. It's like an optionable even in the Trailhawk. If you get a WK2 and it's a Trailhawk, you know you have Quadra 2. However, in the new ones, I think it's an option. I think it's because of this chip stuff. But we were on a dealer's lot, and clear as day on the thing, it was one of these. It was a Trailhawk, and it said Quadra 2 on it. And I asked the guy, I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, because like you need it in this. If you're buying this for off-roading, you want it, but it's an option. I think it's still an option. So be careful with that with the new ones. Don't assume because you got a new Trailhawk that you have a Quadra 2 system. At least in 2022, not standard. All right, so let's get to issues. I know you want them. You've been waiting to get to the issues. What issues have we had at 105,000 miles? Major mechanical issues. Issues with the engine, issue with the transmission. No, nothing, okay? Transmission's been fine. I will say it kind of delays shifting gears sometimes. When you really, if you hit the throttle and you're kind of close to that shift point, you'll feel I don't know if that's normal, but that's ours. So leave a comment below if that happens to you with the transmission. I don't think it's really slipping. It hesitates or pauses. I don't know. With that, what gets me about this is that we try to keep up on our maintenance. We'll talk about that here in just a second. The transmission, they say, is like lifetime, like you never change it. There's no drain plug. You have to drop the whole pan, get a new pan, all that. I kind of want to do it because it should be done around, in my mind, be done around this time, but they say you don't have to touch it, which is super weird to me. Anyway, but engine, all that's been working fine. We haven't had the Hemi tick or anything. Oh, we did have a water pump going. I forgot that in maintenance. So issues. We had a water pump. Water pump went out on us, which is fairly common with these. It happened. We were probably maybe around 90,000 miles when our water pump went out. I do have video on that. I can put that up there. That was covered under warranty, no issue. We had the transfer shift motor go out recently. Transfer shift motor, so that little knob when you say for low, or the button you push, or I think it's a button you push, like there's an actual motor then that will shift. That went out on us. Covered under Mopar's extended warranty. We had the washer fluid pump went out when we cracked the thing. They didn't cover the bottle, but they covered the pump. Mopar did, so that went out. We had a wheel sensor, speed sensor in the front go out. That was covered. Just a couple weeks ago, the door lock started going out. First it was rear passenger, then it went to the rear driver, then rear passenger, then passenger. The power locks went out. And that actually we just got replaced and covered again under warranty. So Mopar extended warranty for us personally has been fantastic. I would highly recommend it. It's definitely saved us at this point thousands of dollars doing that. I know some folks have had issues with them. We haven't. All right. I'm sorry, getting through some of this stuff. How about regular maintenance, things we're doing or have done? Obviously, oil changes. Do them. I mean, we're doing it, I guess, every 8,000 miles. Spark plugs. Just did my spark plugs. If they the shop quoted me like $800 to change the spark plugs. This is the V8. It has 16 spark plugs, 2 per cylinder. I actually did it myself. So I guess I'll say, if you want to see a video on that, let us know. It was actually not bad at all. First time ever, and I saved, it cost me, I think, like $200 for my spark plugs. So I saved a lot of money doing that myself, and it was not bad at all. Changing the differential fluid. So like at every 40,000 miles, we've done that. I get asked, so we've been water situations a lot. You know, does water get in there? Every time I pull them, no. It's been pretty well sealed up, but we have changed and cycled them. I don't know why I'm rushing, because you guys are going to be like, you talk too much. Transmission, spark plugs, we've done oil changes, yeah. So I'm going to start this thing up and let you hear what a 105,000 mile Grand Cherokee sounds like. We'll pop the hood and I'll show you a little bit about spark plugs and all that. So I just started it up. Man, I think this sounds good. So I will say, I wanted to mention on my spark plugs, I'll stand back here a little bit so you can hear me. On the spark plugs, and I'll show you how I did them, but we changed them right at 100,000 miles like it was recommended. I did have one plug that was not functioning, not working. And since we've changed that, the fuel economy has definitely gotten better. So with the spark plugs, 100,000 miles, what they recommend, we did it and we needed to at that point. Let me pop this off. So with the spark plugs, it's really not bad. So you look here, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other side. You basically undo these bolts, pull that whole deal out. The spark plugs are underneath there. Take them out, put the new one in, bolt it back down. Oh, well, I mean, you got to unplug them too before that. Very simple. Just get the right tool to do it. You need a special socket for it. They're thin-walled, so they don't get stuck in your cylinder. Kind of a funny story behind that, but yeah, I would totally do that again. No big deal. So, but I think the engine actually sounds better since we've done that. Fuel economy has been better. Okay, lastly, would I buy this thing again? For $34,000 when we picked this up with 32,000 miles on? Absolutely. Things are so crazy right now with the market. And I still think, man, this is a great vehicle. And this versus, I've been in the new ones. One of my least favorite things about the new one is there's so much gloss up front, which looks super sweet when you get in there. But if you've even test driven it and you've touched anything, your fingerprints are everywhere, which I think is just crazy. Also, makes me a little nervous. The biggest issue we've had with this has been these electrical gremlins. It's buggy. Like I would say in general, this has got, I've said before, it's got a personality. It gets a little buggy sometimes. There is so much more technology and electronics in the new version, and that would make me more nervous. Plus, they are so expensive. You're talking for the new ones. I mean, a new Trailhawk, I think it's like mid $55,000-$60,000. That's like 2 of these. I mean, you can easily get one that's 70 grand. Nuts. Okay, to me that's crazy. Lauren loves this thing. So between the two of us, she drives this all the time. This is definitely handles better than my truck, the Gladiator. It's definitely got more pickup. And it's got more tech, way more tech. I don't have heated seats, although you can get them as an option. I don't have that on mine. And the heated steering wheel. But this has so much like good stuff packed in. And so yes, in 2019 for $34,500, I think it was a steal of a deal with that extended warranty. So if you're checking these out, I think it's a great all-around vehicle. I really do. So if you want to do hardcore off-roading, if you don't like the tippy and you don't like that, there are definitely limitations, but you have to get pretty high to get them. This is a perfect vehicle, I think, to fit your family in, to have fun with that V8, and to get out off-road for most people. So this is still, to me, way better. I mean, we've been out with some 4Runners and stuff. I would rather have this than a Toyota 4Runner, for sure. Just would. My biggest cons with this would probably be, like, that air suspension's always like a question mark hanging out there in front of you. Otherwise, I love the look of this thing. We're very happy with this. Very happy. It's got 104,000 miles on it, and it's doing great. So yeah, if I was going to buy a new Grand Cherokee today, I would look for a WK2 versus the new model. Really would. Really, it's the same drive system. So in the new model, what they've done is they've supposedly dampened Off-Road 2. So I've heard that Off-Road 2 is a little bit softer on the new ones. And it's got a disconnectable sway bar, which Jeep will not tell you how much extra articulation that gives you. Interesting. I saw it in one video where the guy said, I'm going to disconnect my sway bar and watch it drop, and the thing didn't move. So I'm a little bit like, is this kind of a gimmicky with a disconnectable sway bar on this? It might give maybe an inch or two more articulation, but when your tire is hanging feet in the air, like, it's still going to do that, okay? So just keep that in mind. It might, I guess, soften some of the jostling out a little bit. But to me, those minor changes aren't worth it. I love the body style in this more. So if I was going to today get a Grand Cherokee, I would still go with the WK2. I think it's, get a, like a 2021, 2020. They've got the kinks worked out. I would totally go for it. But again, pricing is so much different than when we bought this. I think that's it. Guys, if you have questions, something else that I didn't cover in this video that you want to know, put it down below. Let us know what you think of yours, if you've got one, why you're checking this out. I hope you enjoyed this video. A little bit different, just kind of rambling through, but we really felt like this deserved a 100,000 mile warranty. My big warranty, 100,000 mile review. When we first started wheeling and we got this, I'll never forget, I had one comment that said, these are rental car fleet vehicles. That transmission will never hold up. Like, you're gonna explode right away. And we're still going. So I'm very fond of that vehicle for sure. So guys, anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. If you're brand new to the channel, consider hitting the subscribe button. Guys, we've got some merch. We're terrible at this stuff, but we've got sweatshirts. It is fall now. We got the sweatshirts in summer. Haven't put them up yet on our online. We've got more old favorite hats. We got some new style hats. Hopefully we'll get that coming out. If you're interested, send us like a DM through Instagram. We'll get them up on the website. Put it in the comments below. Say, get it up. They're super comfy. Helps us a little bit if you want some nice hoodies. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you again real soon.